Onea, did you have a nice Mother's Day?
I did, just last Sunday. And we actually celebrated Mother's Day a little bit earlier this year because the restaurants are always so crazy.
Right.
So my husband took me to Van Gogh Alive, downtown the Science Center.
Oh, nice. Downtown Phoenix.
Downtown Phoenix, yeah. And they had all of Van Gogh's art just streaming. It wasn't the actual art, his art, but they had it streaming on like video reels and and did music behind it, and he's a fascinating man. Very depressed.
Did it have his ear?
Yeah, he had well, not his ear, yeah, but they had a picture. He actually did a drawing or a painting of himself without the ear.
Without the ear, yeah. And his self-portrait, very famous.
And he only sold one portrait out of the hundreds of portraits or paintings that he had did himself. He only sold one in his whole entire life.
Really?
Which was really interesting to me to know that he became such a renowned artist, and in our time people know him so well, but in his day he was not known.
Which happens, it's not that unusual to happen with artists, or sometimes artists of all type, not just the painters, but musicians, music that's discovered after Beethoven's music, Bach, different musics that were discovered, but often that happens after somebody's passed, where their worth, their value, their talent escalates, okay? And I'm sure his paintings are going for millions and millions, if not billion dollars.
I think one of his arts went for $30 million
right,
or something.
Exactly.
And the one art that he actually did sell in his age went for like $1,200 US when he was alive.
Which was a lot of money.
Which was a lot of money.
You don't remember which one it was, do you?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Of course.
No, it wasn't one that you would think of. It wasn't like the Starry Night. It wasn't the one of him in the room.
The portrait.
The portrait of the room. I believe it was the Red Barn or something.
And didn't he do the man-made manifest in God? Isn't that one of his famous? Man like this in the Star Center.
They didn't show that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it's Van Gogh's.
Yeah.
That's very famous, but I hate to say for sure.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
But I'm quite certain it's a Van Gogh famous one.
Yeah.
And the interpretation of it is man-made manifest in God. The actual title of it, I'm not certain if that's it, but it's something like that.
Something to that effect.
But it's a shame you have to die to get, realize the value. And it's not just artists or people in the arts or famous people, but how about just individual people, everyday life?
Right.
We don't appreciate whom they are or their value until after they're gone.
But we always go back to, our show's topic is always on, what we think about, we bring about, but also the residual effects of what we leave on this earth even after we're gone. Right. And we still need to keep that in consideration too when we are waking up every day making choices to create beauty.
Appreciate people, and give them a compliment. Tell them how much we value them. We talk about energy a lot on our show as well. Anybody who's been watching our show knows that. But speaking of residual effect, do you know that the imprint of a person's even footprints, energy, wherever they've walked, wherever they've been, that energy remains forever?
That's hard to wrap your head around, but if you really can grasp that even just a simple step, like you're saying, will affect us from forever, right?
Forever. Wherever you've walked, wherever you've been during the journey of your lifetime, you leave like an imprint, but it's an imprint of your energy that remains.
Wow, that's pretty profound.
It's pretty powerful,
yeah. It's very powerful.
So, all the civilizations before us, all the civilizations after us, including us, our civilization, but wherever anyone walks, the imprint is left. It's extremely powerful. But it also explains why when we go places, sometimes we can feel all that positive, negative, whatever it is we're feeling. I was in Italy a few years back, and a girlfriend and I were backpacking Europe. When we got near the Colosseum in Rome, just even near it, we weren't even in it yet, I started getting woozy, dizzy. The energy just hit me like, oh my God, I'm not sure I can go in.
Right.
After a little bit, I said, you know, I may never come this way again. I'm going to force myself to go in. But the whole time I was in there, and my friend Sandy had the same kind of effect.
I've experienced.
But we were just woozy, dizzy, not feeling good. And it was nothing but energy.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't care what your belief system is, and we always try to go back to, you're not trying to label people's belief system in any way, but when you go into older buildings, everybody has experienced some sort of energy shift and not really knowing how to explain it, but that does help kind of clarify.
Just that the energy remains stays.
And it doesn't have to be negative. It can be positive. But in the Coliseum, I'm sure.
Or it's just energy. Yeah. What do you think about our Prescott downtown fire we had last week?
That was so sad. That was really sad. And there's a part of history now, now altered forever.
Because it was on Whiskey Row, which is a well-known block in Prescott, downtown Prescott, because it was known for all the brothels and the saloons in its western days. But they're landmarks. And hopefully it's going to be rebuilt very quickly, the businesses that have burned. There's a fundraiser that's going to be taking place.
Good. We should try to get involved in that.
Yes, we should, definitely. And I hope most of Prescott gets involved in the fundraiser, or at least comes out to contribute to it, to help rebuild our businesses. This community always comes to the rescue when there's someone in need.
It's a beautiful community. It always has been. There's been definitely a sense of community in the sense that we come together and help out. Even people that have been sick that I've known of, people have come together and helped them out financially. Fundraisers. And you and I both are aware of quite a bit because we've donated gift certificates. I know you have for your hair, I have for readings or spiritual counseling. And so we may not be out there beating on the doors, but we do our part to contribute something, something. But yeah, I think having the fundraiser to rebuild the businesses downtown will be great. Yeah, so
and we'll do it.
Definitely. And we encourage anybody that is aware of it, that Whiskey Row had started on fire, to help in some way to help rebuild it, because a lot of people come up just down from the valley to enjoy our square and Whiskey Row. So
a lot of tourists. That's why it's important to rebuild that. But it also, that sense of community and mankind helping each other. We're shifting from, we're in the Piscean age right now, and we're shifting into the Aquarian age, but it's going to be a while yet, right?
It's going to be a while, yes. But it's going to be in a while, but the way it's a good way to describe it is like winter. Winter's coming, but it doesn't just end on a day. It's a gradual progression, and it evolves into that. So I think we are starting to feel the effects.
Like transitioning from season to season.
Right.
It's coming. Right. You can start feeling it as it gets closer. And in universal years, we are closer.
Yes.
God, I remember the 5 dimensions, which probably you have to be of a certain age to even remember the 50 dimensions, but everybody knows the song. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. But the 5 dimensions, we're singing that in the 60s.
Right.
It is, so we've been singing about the dawning of the age of Aquarius for a long time.
Yes, we have.
Because it takes a long time to get there.
Well, and to create an awareness of consciousness, even though we don't need to be aware of it, because it's going to happen regardless if we're aware of it or not, but it's a good way for people to start understanding what's going on with the shifts.
Well, why don't you explain some of that?
Well, Why would you put me on the spot like that?
Well, we're transitioning.
We're transitioning, yeah. And it takes, they say that, which I just happen to have some information on it right here.
Just happen to have,
It takes the Earth 25,800 years to complete a cycle.
And that's a zodiac cycle.
That's the zodiac cycle.
You know,
if you divide that by 12, the 12 signs of the zodiac, each constellation corresponds to a period of 2,150 years.
Right. So we're in a zodiac sign, one of the signs of the zodiac, for 2,100 years. And 150 years. Okay.
This cycle constitutes as an age. The specific age or energies is empowered by the constellations along the zodiac, with the rises behind the sun on the spring equinox of March 21st.
All right, so each age that we enter into the different phases of the zodiac signs, we're then influenced as a humanity or on the planet by that sign.
Right.
And right now we're in the Piscean age, which of course are the two fish swimming in opposite directions, which encompasses, one stands for soul, one stands for body or matter.
Right.
That's the significance of that. But it also signifies a Christ consciousness, right?
Correct. Yeah. And that would be in selfish service, group work, and self-sacrifice.
That kind of a consciousness.
That kind of consciousness.
We've got a little ways to go.
Yeah, we do.
And we're not in this age much longer.
No, we're not. But it says they believe that the Piscean age began approximately 100 BC. So we're still not even going to be into the Aquarian age, but we are starting to evolve into that era. They said 2050.
2050, this is 2012. Well, not that much further. I mean, it seems like a long time, but it's really not.
No, it's not.
Especially when you consider we've been in the Piscean age since, what did you say, 100 BC?
100 BC.
A long time. But I think most of us are really ready for shifts.
We are. And I think that's what we're experiencing with 2012, where the planets are aligning, and this actually explains to you that the
part of the shift.
The part of the shift is because the planets are aligning, and we're getting closer to this new era.
This new era.
Yeah.
And we still have time in this one because this one is significant for reaching a higher consciousness as well.
Right. Right.
The Piscean. Because of the Christ consciousness, then I wonder what exactly the Aquarian age will represent. Will it mean that most of us, or a lot of us on this planet, have already evolved to a higher state of awareness?
I think that's what I've been reading, and like I said, this is new to me also, in the sense I've heard of the Aquarian age, I've heard the songs of the Aquarian age, and so you had mentioned,
I'm an Aquarian,
and you had mentioned something about the Piscean age, and I thought, well, what does that mean exactly? And what makes the difference between the Piscean age and the Aquarian age? And the Aquarian age is, it's just like you said, better, more evolved consciousness. Yeah.
Where you go into, actually the sign of Aquarian is more of a humanitarian kind of a sign.
Yes.
Sometimes we're a little flaky.
Yes.
But
I would be one of them.
Yeah. But it often denotes also somebody who works in the spiritual realm or teaches or something like that. But overall, in a concise manner, it's a humanitarian sign.
Right.
My take on all of this is then the Aquarian age that we're entering, more of evolved consciousness. Of course, we're going through that now, getting us. I like the way you say, like, you feel the seasons coming even before they're there, because that explains it so nicely. But I would say then we're going into a time. Okay, we're progressing into it. We don't have to wait until we're right on the cusp, but we're progressing into it, where mankind is more selfless.
Right.
Instead of the me, it's more the we, I hope. And doing things for the greater good. A group consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful way to put it, group consciousness. And I think we've been in such a time of instant gratification and a time of self-serving. And I hope with the group consciousness, we can now just open up our arms and become one as a whole.
Instant gratification is really the sign of our times.
Yeah.
You can see that all the way around. I mean, the fast food, we want food right now. We don't want to cook and wait on it. The internet, information. But instant gratification, when we started going to all that, is I think when we lost our ability to really appreciate and communicate and be effective, because we're not willing to wait for anything or fix something.
Right.
I saw an interview with Paul Newman years ago, and some TV interview he was having, and was married to his wife Joan for years and years and years. And somebody asked him, I don't know if Barbara Walters did the interview, but it was someone like that, said, what do you, attribute your successful long-term marriage to? And he said, well, both Joni and I come from a fix-it time. And she said, a fix-it time? He said, yeah. When your, appliance got broke, or broken, you used to go and have it repaired. If your toaster got broken, you'd go and have it repaired. Of course, that's not even logical today. They're so cheap to buy, but still. He said, that's the era we came from. So when something is broken in our relationship, we fix it. And that has registered up here and stuck in my brain all these years, because I thought it was a completely different mindset.
In every way.
In every way, because like throwing the toaster out, which I wouldn't, just go get a new one, but it's the symbology of it, not the actual of it, okay? Now it's like, if it's not working, let's get divorced. If it's not working, I'm going to quit this job. Instead of working on it, what have you. I'm looking forward to, and I shouldn't say looking forward to it, because we've been in it. A shift in consciousness. But I'm excited about thinking it's going to become of a much greater scale.
And that is exciting for all of us. And because we're all feeling it. We're all feeling the energy. We are actually feeling that time is going faster. We all are experienced that we do have to keep at a higher pace because things are moving faster, but we've got to learn how to hone it in and make sure that we don't lose the sense of community, the sense of all of us being one. Family. That
kind of a thing.
Because we're seeing a lot of families split up for one reason or another, and it's...
But some of that is actually also on target, because the energy things that are going on, it is a time for, if it's not working, to move on. So relationships, even friendships that are not working, they're being forced to move on, make a change. My grandson's a Pisces, so he's always been interested, of course, in the fish, and we've always taken it as like a Christian symbol, the fish. Which it is.
Which it is a Christian, yes.
Which it is, a very strong Christian symbol. But as I said, one represents soul, one represents the body or matter. But it also was symbolic of like feeding the multitude. Which I think is why the Christians adapted it in the first place.
Could be.
Do you think? Do you know?
I don't know. It's interesting to me that a lot of the symbols in what I've learned as a child, being raised Christian, and then evolving into another way of thinking, and not that I'm gotten rid of that idea.
You've just broadened it a little.
I've broadened it, and it's interesting to me how a lot of the symbols were put into the Bible along with what has now been put a label on. As far as, and that, I guess I'm not explaining that right. But
no,
in a
you're
sense,
explaining it perfectly. Okay.
So not knowing what the symbols meant, or if there was a meaning behind it. But yes, the fish feeding the multitudes.
And all of that. But lots of things in our Bible that we interpret. Like, I know the Bible talks a great deal about the end of days. And going right along with our change in our ages, times. Because so many people predicted the end of 2012 to be the end of the world, or understood it to mean that when the Mayan calendar ended, which didn't mean that at all.
Right.
Okay. It means the end of a consciousness, the end of the energies, the way we've had a shift in energy and consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So the fish thing is very interesting to me. And I used to buy fishy things for my grandson all the time when he was younger, because he was into his sign, not big time, but he was aware of it and appreciated it. So I would buy, you know, the fish this, fish that. He's too old now for me to do all that. But
is he driving now?
You know, he hasn't gotten his license yet. He has his learner's permit, but
once that happens,
they're gone.
Yeah, they're not
gone.
home for
Let
long.
him buy his own fish. Yeah,
exactly.
But nevertheless, the symbology of all these things, and I know the Pisces is a water sign, which is significant in itself. Aquarius, most people think is a water sign. But it's actually an air sign.
That's what I thought it was. But
oh, did you?
I thought it was an air sign.
No, because it's Aquarius, and it, you know, the water bearer
Okay.
is the sign of the Aquarius, the water bearer. And so most people that don't know astrology or science or could care less, right, think of it as a water sign, when in truth it's an air sign.
Well, and that would be symbolic in itself, in the sense that the Pisces is the water, so it's more grounded in a sense, and then the air is more energy, flowing energy.
And I think of it as above, so below.
Okay. I like that.
Do you?
I like that.
All right, girlfriend. But no, you know how we all have our own, that's the truth, we all have our own interpretations of things.
Right.
And this is just one of many, and we're not doing an in-depth discussion on the Piscean age or Aquarian age. We do what we always do. We give out little morsels, you know, little morsels. Yeah, food for thought.
Food for thought.
For
seeds to be planted.
That's right. Anybody that's interested in it or would like more information, talk about instant information, get on the internet.
This is true.
You can download anything in minutes.
And, you know, just like you just planting that seed with me just a while back when we were talking about it, it got me thinking, well, what does Piscean mean to the Aquarian? And what is this shift and changes going on? And every organization, every belief system has this idea of changing coming up. But really, what is it?
Well, the song. There's songs that keep being sung. You know, change is on its way, change is coming. Seal just did a rendition of it. You know, that's great. Everybody's sung about it.
And everybody's thinking about it, and everybody's feeling it.
Right, that's the thing. Everybody's feeling it.
Everybody's feeling it. And to go with it, and to be aware of it in the sense of not that it's going to be a scary thing, that we just go with it.
Oh, I'm excited about it. I've always been one that likes certain change. I don't like all change.
Right.
But I like certain changes. Like what I don't like changing are my favorite restaurants.
Right.
Like if they close down, I don't like that kind of a change. Okay. Because I'm a little bit of a creature of habit.
Are you?
In that sense.
I would be the opposite.
Yeah, no, I'll find my favorite restaurants, and I will even find what I like to eat there the most, and get the same things that I like in pretty much the same restaurant.
I know a lot of people like that.
Well, when I deviate, I'm never happy.
Right.
You know, so I'm like that. I'll find a certain way to get from point A to point B, driving. That's how I'll go. But I like to travel, and when I travel, I like to explore.
Right.
Yeah. But at home, I like my habits.
Well, I think it doesn't matter if we're habit-forming people, or if we're not, this change is happening anyway.
It's happening, yeah.
So that's a wonderful thing for people like you that don't necessarily like a lot of change. You're going to be forced to do it. I can eat in the same
place and have a consciousness shift all at the same time. I just hope my servers have a consciousness shift. No, I'm just kidding. No, you know what I mean.
Yes.
Because I do like to travel, and I travel quite a bit, not as much as I used to. Circumstances is one of it, but also I don't feel as at ease as I once did. Not that I'm afraid of anything happening in the world, but there are different uprisings. I've never traveled afraid. Even when I backpacked India, people said, "Oh my God, you know, da da da." I go and trust. I'm not afraid of it.
That's a wonderful place
to
be.
But our money, what I'm talking about, is like the value of our dollar, you know, those kind of things. Economically, situations aren't what they were.
Right, and that's true, and we're all feeling that. So
feeling it.
We are feeling it.
I just went down to El Gadonas yesterday. As you know, I dentist there, and I think you've dentist down there before also. They're not hurting. They're all building new things and what have you. But when you go deeper, that's a little border town, deeper into Mexico, there is a lot of stuff happening with the cartel. So, you know, you have to be a little bit common sense.
Exactly.
You know, common sense.
Well, as much as we didn't know or do know about this subject, we sure did pull off another 30-minute show.
We do our show. It's because we just like to talk to each other.
Do.
And we don't always know what we're talking about, but we do know this much. That's what we're talking about.